This past week, we didn't have too many news stories drop, but we had a couple big ones, so I'll get right in to talk about those. We'll start off, talk about the news, then we'll cover some other shit too. It might be a long show. I'm not entirely sure how long this is going to go, but like I said, this is going to be a weekly thing, so buckle in. The first story we're going to talk about, which in my opinion is probably the biggest one, is that on Monday, Fleetwood Mac announced that they are no longer they have kind of cut ties. Sorry, that's the best way to put that. They have cut ties with Lindsey Buckingham, which is crazy to me because Lindsey Buckingham has been a pretty key member of Fleetwood Mac for the better part of Fleetwood Mac, in my opinion. He's been with the band for like 40 years, give or take. I know, like in the 80s, he quit for like 10 years, and then he came back, and it was they blamed creative differences then, and that's kind of what they're saying now. It's kind of unclear though because there's conflicting reports still. This came out like a week ago. Some people are saying he was fired. Some people are saying he quit. We really don't know, and nobody from Fleetwood Mac has really released any statements. But on Monday, they also announced who would be replacing Lindsey Buckingham, and we got some good names there. We got Mike Campbell, formerly of the Heartbreakers and Mudcrutch, who has collaborated a lot with Stevie Nicks, who, as you know, Stevie Nicks collaborated a lot with Tom Petty. So it's cool that they went after this guy. Mike Campbell gives them something to do because I'm not sure that the Heartbreakers are very busy at the moment. This kind of reminds me of after when Lemmy passed away. Mickey D played a couple shows with the Scorpions on the drums, and then they just made him a part of the band. And since Motorhead finished after Lemmy died, so kind of the same thing with all the Heartbreakers right now. They're just kind of in flux, waiting to find projects, I guess, because I don't know what those guys are up to, but in my opinion, this is off topic, but in my opinion, I think the surviving members of both Mudcrutch and the Heartbreakers should get together and do something. Maybe that's in the works, I don't know. But nonetheless, Mike Campbell is replacing Lindsey Buckingham, replacing Lindsey Buckingham in Fleetwood Mac, as well as somebody else, Neil Finn, who I am unfamiliar with. But it sounds like Mike Campbell will be mainly the guitarist because Lindsey Buckingham did vocals and guitar work. So it sounds like they got this Finn guy to do the vocals. Well, but I'm not entirely sure. I might be wrong about that. This whole situation is very confusing. And like I said, they haven't really announced a whole lot of inside details. All the articles that I've read and everything I can find is just pure speculation. So I think it's one of these things that a lot of people just, they don't really know. In fact, this news actually came off of TomPetty.com, so it's Mike Campbell that's breaking all these scoops. It's not even Stevie Nicks or Christine McVie or any of these other guys. It is kind of interesting. I know last year that Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie broke off Fleetwood Mac for a little bit. They didn't like break apart the band, but they went off for a little while and did their own thing. And then they had the classic festivals. They got back together with Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac played those, a couple festivals in LA and New York, I believe. And then they announced that they were going to go on a final tour starting this year. And so I am very curious kind of to find out what did happen with Lindsey Buckingham, because you would think, since this is going to be their final tour, if it is, which it might not be, every band ever has gone on final tours and it ends up not really being their final tour. But that being said, Fleetwood Mac has been around for quite a while, and all these musicians are getting pretty up there in age, so it is believable to me anyways that they would in fact hang it up after this. So something really bad must have happened in order for him to not even want to stick around for another year. Like, he's just completely done. And it's interesting because when you go on tour, if you're a big band like this, you don't really have to interact with the other people in the band. Besides on the stage when Motley Crue was on their final tour, there was 4 separate tour buses for each member of the band. They didn't see each other unless they were on the stage. And so you don't have to do a whole lot of interacting with your band. So if the problem was tension within the band, which it sounds like that's not what it was. It sounds like that there was just some conflicts, like he didn't even want to do this last tour. He just wants to be done touring. And we'll see if that's true. The big thing that I keep hearing is that there was difficulties and the conflict arose in scheduling the tour. And so that's the main story going on right now. Like I said, as more time goes on, I'm sure we'll get more dirt and more details will come out about this. But yeah, crazy craziness. I figured that since they're going to wrap it up, they would all try to do at least one last big road, send it out good. But I hope that Lindsey Buckingham does kind of come back. You know, maybe one or two of these shows, maybe like the final Fleetwood Mac show, he comes back and, you know, plays at least a song just to send the band off, because he was so instrumental in, or quintessential in, establishing the band that you'd think it would want to end with him. So we'll see how all that plays out. And this might just be a heat of the moment thing. Now he's saying he wants to be done with it, but that could change. And like I said, I'm coming at it from an angle to where there might be some hostility, and I don't even know that. I'm just purely speculating because of past history. This could just be a mutual agreement to separate. And that would be a perfect world. That would be awesome if there was no hard feelings, if they all still loved each other, they just didn't want to, you know, if he just didn't want to be in the band anymore, and everyone was cool with that, that would be okay. I just kind of feel like that's not the case here. But we will see. The next